What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Gimme presented by Bet365. Why do we call it the Gimme? You know why? Because it's good. This week, we're looking at the Valero Texas Oopen, the last tournament before the Masters next week, and there is one golden ticket left for Willy Wonka's proverbial chocolate factory next week, and we're going to talk about players who have a chance of getting there. I'm Jason Sobel. He is Roberto Arguello. Coming up, we're going to give our favorite outrights, our props, our first round leader bets, make a one and done pick, and so much more. But first, the Gimme is presented, as I mentioned, by Bet365, the world's favorite sportsbook brand. Sign up with promo code ACTION, ACTION, to get Bet365's exclusive sign up offer in New Jersey, Colorado, Ohio, and Virginia. Bet $1, get $365 in bet credits. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So let's take a look at the top of the Bet365 leaderboard. And what we see here is a very nice mix of players who are prepping for the Masters next week and guys who are searching for that last ticket, that last invitation into the field. Whew. It's going to be very interesting to see if one of these guys, Roberto, can get into the Masters field. We had it happen 4 years ago with Corey Connors, went from Monday qualifier to in the Augusta National Field in the Masters a week later. Last year, JJ Spawn did it. It's always a nice story. I'm kind of rooting for the romanticism of somebody claiming one of those last tickets. So let's take a look at our portfolios. As always, the bosses at Action Network have given us $100 to spend in our portfolios however we wish. We're going to start with our favorite outrights. Roberto, what's going on? How are you starting off your card this week?
I'm going to start with Nikolai Højgaard. He's a player who primarily plays on the DP World Tour, and he's got top 13 finishes in 4 of his last 6 starts on the DP World Tour. He came over to the PGA Tour last week in the opposite field event in Punta Cana, and he finished solo second. He's just 22 years old, but he's got a ton of upside. He's ridiculously long, and he already has wins on the DP World Tour in 2021 and 2022. He flashed last week, and he's a guy who is really streaky. So he'll play some poor golf for quite a bit of time, but he'll also play some great golf. And he's in the midst of one of those stretches right now. So I'm really excited to bet on him this week, and I'm excited to bet on him in the coming weeks as he stays hot.
I like it a lot. Are we sure it's him? He's got a twin brother, Rasmus, who's also very good. Are we sure that it's the right twin that's actually playing? Are we sure Rasmus isn't like hitting some shots for him?
If we get the switcheroo pulled on me, I'm going to reserve the right to get my money back.
I think I've seen that movie before. No, I don't think that's what they're doing, but I do think they could make for very good Ryder Cup partners later this year. They know each other fairly well. I'm just saying. My first pick on the outright card this week is a guy who was playing terrible golf earlier this year. Cam Davis missed the cut in 5 straight events. To give you a little perspective, he only missed the cut 7 times all of last season. Well, as it turns out, he had an illness. He was lethargic on the golf course, couldn't practice, and so it showed in his game. Came back at the Players' Championship, feeling much better, finished in 6th place there, went 2-1 at the Match Play Championship last week, beat Tom Hoagie and Aaron Wise. My podcast partner on the Links and Locks podcast, Ben Everill, spoke with Cam Davis in Austin last week, and he confirmed he is feeling 100% healthy, worked a lot on his putting last week at Austin Country Club. I love everything about him, including the number this week, plus 4,500. I'm taking 20% of my portfolio and putting it on Cam Davis. Where else are you going with your second play, Roberto?
I'm going to stay with another really young player in Akshay Bhatia, who also has top-tier talent in a field that is somewhat lacking that, and at least a lot of those players on the first page of the odds board aren't playing their best golf right now. So at 100-1, I like Bhatia as a high upside play. He's a guy who has 2 top 7 finishes in 4 Korn Ferry Tour events so far this season, and he's made 5 of 6 cuts on the PGA Tour. Last week, he caught people's attention by shooting 63 in the second round in Punta Cana. Didn't break 70 on the weekend, but he has shot a 65 or lower in 4 of his last 5 PGA Tour starts, and I like targeting him on upside plays. We'll talk about the first round leader market with him a little bit later, but I think he's got some great upside, and I really like the guy that you're going to talk about next in your upside play or in your outright play as well. He's someone else who I have on my card.
Yeah, we are going to talk some more Akshay in the first round leader marketplace. That's going to be very interesting in a few minutes. But yeah, I'm going to go with Ben Martin as my second play. This is a guy who gets absolutely no public acclaim. He probably walks through airports and nobody bothers him for an autograph or anything like that. All he does is seemingly play good golf pretty much every week that he goes out there. 3 top 13 finishes in his last 5 starts. 7 of his last 8 starts have been positive strokes gained on approach shots. He's just a really good player, and we are just about 1 year and 1 day to the anniversary of Ben Martin finishing runner-up at the Corrales Punta Cana Championship last year. And if you remember, the video went viral, his post-round press conference where he broke down crying, very emotional, talking about what the game means to him, what the journey means to him, how much it means to him to try to go out there and compete on a weekly basis. We talk about good stories of guys trying to get into Augusta with this last final invitation. There's not a better story. I know Ricky Fowler's out there. I'm not sure there's a better story out there than Ben Martin. So again, a little romantic notion that Ben Martin can do it at 100 to 1. I love the number, taking 15% of the portfolio and throwing it on him. All right, let's take a little bit and talk about this golf course. TPC San Antonio, the Oaks course, plays just north of 7,400 yards. And if you've ever watched this one, you know it's windy. Wind is going to blow in the double digits miles per hour every single day this week. Expected some rain too, so there could be a little start and stop to this if we get some thunderstorms. So we'll see exactly what Mother Nature has in store for us later this week. But Roberto, let's take a look at the player markets at Bet365. I know you want to buy a couple of guys. Who are you buying first?
Yeah, I'm going back to Højgaard, Nikolai, of course. 48 or better. He's a guy whom I expected this market to have him around 40th or better. Given that he has no finishes outside the top 38 in each of his last 7 combined DP World Tour and PGA Tour starts. Like I said, he's a streaky player. He's in form right now, and I think he can do a lot better than 48. So I think it's a pretty safe bet. And I am putting the most money on this bet among any in my portfolio this week at $29.
Woo. All right, I like it. Confident in Højgaard. If Højgaard goes off this week, Roberto's buying dinner for all of us. All right. I am going to buy Corey Connors. And look, I am for the most part fading most of the players this week who are in the Masters field already next week. But Corey Connors, that's a guy I'm buying. They have him listed at 28th or better. He's finished 28th or better in 3 of his 4 career starts at the Valero Texas Open, including, as I mentioned, that momentous victory, that career-changing victory 4 years ago. Connors shows up here not just because he's a defending champion, but he knows he can go pick off another win. And I'm almost surprised that he hasn't won another event since then. He's a world-class ball striker. That's going to come in handy every week. Comes in real handy this week, where I think that he can go out and contend for another title before heading to Augusta. All right. We usually sell another one. You're going to buy. You're just buying this week. I love it.
Yeah, giving positive energy this week. And I'm going to continue buying with Brendan Todd. So Brendan Todd, normally a pretty accurate driver of the golf ball, but at TPC San Antonio, he's played 6 times. The 3 times where he's been above average relative to the field in driving accuracy, he's finished T6, T8, and T30. When he's been below average in driving accuracy relative to the field, he's been cut twice and he finished T61. So the key for him this week is driving the ball accurately, given that he is one of the best players on the entire PGA Tour, both around the green and with his flat stick. Nearly won at Pebble Beach because of that really hot flat stick as well earlier this year. And so far this year on the PGA Tour, he's played 13 times. Every single one of those 13 times, he's been above average relative to the field that week in driving accuracy. So I'm expecting him to make it a perfect 14 for 14 in that category and to finish better than 45th this week. So this is, I think, my second highest or second biggest play this week in a tie with another one that we'll mention later.
I was going to say, I'm actually surprised that you found 3 previous times at the Valero where Brendan Todd was below the field average in driving accuracy. Usually he doesn't miss fairways. He's like this generation's Calvin Pete or Fred Funk. The guy hits a ton of fairways. So yeah, I like that play. All right. I told you I was going to sell one. I'm going to sell a guy who's not just playing the Masters next week, but the guy who's the favorite in this field. We saw Tyrrell Hatton dealing with a little bit of a wrist or a hand injury during the match play. Didn't win a match last week, and now he goes to a place where he's never played here before. And I suggested this about Hatton when a lot of people were on him last week. I said on the show, look, he's sort of a course horse type of player. If he likes a golf course, he likes Bay Hill, he likes TPC Sawgrass, he tends to play well. If he doesn't like a golf course, he'll give it the one digit salute and tell the golf course what he thinks about it throughout the entire tournament. I'm not so sure Terrell Hatton's going to like this place. I'm not so sure that he doesn't just want to get out of town by Friday afternoon anyway. I'm selling him being 20th or worse. And yes, this is indeed his first career start in San Antonio. I don't think it's really his cup of tea. We'll find out pretty soon. But let's get to our props and matchup bets for this week. A lot of possibilities on the board. Where are you starting yours, Roberto?
I'm going to start with Robbie Shelton plus 320 for a top 20. I'm going to buy low on him with him coming off of two of his three worst putting weeks of the season in his last two starts. I think he's just a little bit priced too low in that regard. And I love that in a field where there aren't a ton of elite players on approach, he's strong on approach and around the green, top 35 on the tour in both of these categories. So if we can just dodge a terrible putting week from him, I think he's got a lot of equity here for a top 20.
Yeah, I like Robbie Shelton. I think he's a player that's going to keep popping up on leaderboards a little bit more over the next couple of years. I'm going to go with a top 10 on Thomas Dietrich. I know we were all coming off a weekend where we're paying a lot of attention to Cameron Young. Cameron Young now has 10 top 3 finishes around the world, not just on the PGA Tour, since he joined the tour 18 months ago. That's remarkable. It's almost remarkable that he hasn't won something just by mistake. It's going to happen soon for him. The reason I bring it up, though, is that Thomas Dietrich is sort of the European Cameron Young. He has 9 top 3 finishes on the DP World Tour without a victory. Already has a top 3 finish on the PGA Tour here in his rookie season. 8th place last week at the Corrales Punta Cana Championship. I'm taking him for a top 10 plus 550, 15% of the portfolio on Dietrich, who I think he makes a run at being on that Ryder Cup team for Europe later this year. All right, let's talk matchups. Where are you going with yours?
Yeah, let's keep rolling with these guys who've done well on the DP World Tour. And I'm going to continue that with Ryan Fox minus 130 over Andrew Putnam for $20. This one's a fun matchup where these guys have different skill sets that make them great PGA Tour players. Andrew Putnam, aptly named, is a great putter. And although he's not very long on off the tee, he's very accurate. It's the other way around with Ryan Fox, who has a big advantage on approach this week, and he's been riding some great form. His driving accuracy is his weakness, but as long as he doesn't miss it in the completely wrong spots, the rough isn't terrible this week, the rough isn't a terrible penalty this week. So I like his driving distance advantage. I like his approach advantage, and he's in riding great form. He also had one of the shots of the week last week on the 13th hole at Austin Country Club. Nearly aced it, ended up knocking it in for eagle. I think he's just playing some great golf right now, and Putnam has been riding a hot putter. And so a sell high spot for me on Putnam, and I think I'm buying the better golfer at a bit of a discounted price here in Ryan Fox.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm going to give you some Ryan Fox in just a couple of minutes here. All right, my matchup. I can hear the at-home viewers booing me already. I'm fading Ricky Fowler. I like Ricky this week. I wrote him up for a top 10 in my preview this week, but I really like Davis Riley. Davis Riley was probably my second favorite outright on the board. He's a little short in the outright marketplace, and so I didn't want to go there with that ticket listing him here on the show. But at plus 110, Davis Riley over Ricky Fowler in a matchup, I really, really like that play. Davis Riley won at this very golf course back when he was on the Corn Ferry Tour. Ricky Fowler, remember, he's basically all or nothing this week. And so while I do like him, he's playing for a victory. He's not playing for a top 10 finish, not playing for a top 20 finish. He's going to be playing aggressively. I would think he goes for most of the par 5s and 2 if he can. Aim for the flag sticks. If it works out, hey, I win. I get a ticket to Augusta. If it doesn't work out, no big deal. He's having a good year anyway, and it doesn't really matter a whole lot. So only good things can happen for Fowler, but I think he's going to play aggressive. I'm taking Davis Riley, who I think has a great chance of going out and winning this golf tournament. All right, Roberto, I've been waiting all week for this segment here. We're getting to our first round leader bets. I don't think you and I, in all the times we've done this show together, have ever had the same player for the same bet. Let's do it. Let's go.
All right.
What do we got for first round leader?
All right, let's ride with Akshay Bhatia. We mentioned he's really volatile, but he's got extreme upside, like we saw last week at Punta Cana when he shot that 63 in the second round. He's 10th on the tour this season in birdie or better percentage and first in approach proximity. Of course, he hasn't played that many events on tour, just 6, and not every single one has tracked data. So it's a really small sample size. So take for that what you will. He's also first in early scoring average on the tour. It's an upside play. He's probably not someone who's going to stack together 4 incredible rounds, but he's going to shoot one great round if he plays 4 rounds this week. Hopefully it's the first round and we both cash in.
Yes, ditto, all of it. I got nothing to add. Roberto was the first eyes on my preview this week. He saw that I took Akshay for the first round leader bet. He knows what I'm thinking. I know what he's thinking. I got nothing else to throw in there. Last year, by the way, 65 led after the first round. That was Russell Knox. Actually, throws out 63s, 64s all the time. This is easy money that we're going to take from the Akshay first round leader bet. If we're both on it, I mean, we can't be wrong, right? All right, let's get to our one and done selections. We do it every single week. Only one player you can pick this whole week. Who are you taking?
Tyrrell Hatton's the guy. He's riding great form. The approach numbers are ridiculous. He's top 20 on the tour on approach, off the tee, and putting. He's just in a tier of his own for me this week. So if you haven't taken him, I think he's a good play. But alternative players, I love Højgaard this week. Ben Martin, I also love him. Like I said, I've got an outright on him as well. I also really like Siwoo Kim if you haven't already used him. So those are some guys that I consider in the one and done market, but not really my specialty. So take that.
Don't hedge it. Well. Don't hedge it. Stick with your guy Hatton there. I'm going to take. I tell you what. I won't even need the plus money. I'll go even money with my guy for my one and done pick against yours. I'm going with Ryan Fox. Couple of reasons. First of all, 3 straight top 30 finishes ever since he came over here to the U.S. and started playing in these events. Now at Bay Hill, at TPC Sawgrass, in Austin last week. The second reason is because where else are you going to use this guy? You have no idea when and where he's going to play on the PGA Tour. Yes, he'll play the major championships. Do you really want to waste, I won't say waste, burn a one and done play on Ryan Fox at the Masters, at the PGA, either of the Opens? Probably not. So there's not a whole lot of places you want to take him. He's playing really well right now. I'm on Fox. Let's recap our portfolios. Roberto's going with outrights on Højgaard and Bhatia, a buy on Højgaard and another buy on Brendan Todd, a prop on Robbie Shelton, matchup Ryan Fox, first round leader bet. Yep, love the Akshay play. And Hatton is his one and done. I've got outrights on Cam Davis and Ben Martin. I'm buying Connors, selling Hatton, prop on Thomas Dietrich, matchup Riley over Fowler. Also Akshay with the first round leader play. Again, we're both on it. And Ryan Fox is my one and done. Before we go, Berta, one non-golf bet for the people out there this week.
UAB -4 tonight in the NIT semifinals. The Conference USA is 13-3 against the spread in the postseason. Jelly Walker, their best player, didn't play for 3 weeks during the regular season, or else they would have made the tournament. And also another one of those Conference USA teams, Florida Atlantic, playing in the Final Four. They busted one of these bets that I gave out earlier in the year, Kansas State, plus 20 or plus 2,000 to make the Final Four. Hopefully you hedged on them.
All right. I can't wait for baseball season. I always miss the first week being at Augusta next week, but I'm going to go homer play. Pete Alonso, my guy on the Mets, 15-1 to be the NL MVP. Hey, for more other sports and, of course, your favorite golf plays, Green Dot Daily, 3 p.m. Eastern time on your favorite Action Network platform. Thanks for watching this episode of the Gimme presented by Bet365. For Roberto Arguello, I'm Jason Sobel. Good luck with all your bets for this week's Valero Texas Oopen. We'll be telling you all about the Masters tournament. Can't wait for the show next week. I'll be in Augusta, and we're going to break down every single possible wagering opportunity for that show. Until then, here's hoping you guys hit the green.